What's up, everybody? Little Big Robots back with what the kids call a video. Today, I'm going to be looking at another entry into one of the 12 or 11 or 10 or so lines I collect. In this case, it would be the number 57 124 scale model. Usually, this line is a series of robot-y, kind of like robots, called Armored Puppets. In this case, they released, for some reason, frogs in armor. I don't know why. You'll have to, somebody can explain that to me. I'm trying to get my lighting correct. It's a little different time of day than I normally do. But of course, everybody, when they saw these, was like, that is ridiculous. It's ridiculously cool. And man, I have every video for the past like 6 videos I've dropped something. So normally these guys, this line is, like I said, little robots. I kind of prefer the robots. As a matter of fact, the last few entries into this line have been kind of like, they give you blank heads. Look at that, isn't that cool? Have been these weird, like there was a wolf motorcycle I just reviewed. In fact, in the description I will put the playlist. My God, come on. I'll put the playlist where all these models are, all these toy reviews for this one are. Look at this, they also give you some extra painted heads. I went with the yellow one, I'll let you see in a second. They've been doing kind of some weird ones. There's this other one here, I'd have to pull it up, but basically it's like a ninja, space ninja. I'm cool with those, don't get me wrong. And also they just released a pirate set, which is really cool. I find it really interesting, but I kind of just prefer, honestly, the robots, just plain old robots. But it's cool to see them branching off into another line, or another designs, I should say. I don't know if these are all part of a universe or not. I don't think so. I think they're just kind of a design thing. You could get the parts here to make different versions. Honestly, they're not super different from each other, but I do like that the aquatic one has a bubble on his head. I think if it's an aquatic frog, it would be fine going underwater for a while, so maybe that bubble's just there to indicate the aquatic thing. But it's still a really cool design. I really enjoyed building. It's really fast. I wasn't really careful with not seam lines, but nub marks and stuff like that, so you'll see some on here. I just put it together real fast. But even with that, it looks pretty cool. The bubble is really neat, this little bubble design, but it does have two little, let's see if you can see them right there, two little marks on the sides. I wish they would have put the injection point on the bottom where it would snap in there and you wouldn't see that. You can just see that little bubble. It's not that bad. But the design of the frog is pretty cool. It reminds me of an armored puppet, the usual robot kinds in some ways. But at the same time, it feels completely new, like a completely new design, completely new kind of new take on a kit. It's a little bit, of course, cartoonier. It's a little bit more animal-like, obviously rounder lines, not as many angles and stuff. But it still has that number 57 Armored Puppets line charm that they all have. It has this cool kind of design in the back. The only problem I kind of have with it is some of the parts, like the legs, for example, seem a little less organic, while the arm kind of reads like a frog could have his arm in there. The leg feels a little robotic, so what you end up with is kind of something that seems a bit cyborgy-like, if that makes sense. So I would have liked the legs to be a little more solid like this, where it felt a little bit more like there was a frog inside the suit, if that makes sense. But that is I did drop a part. Look at that. Hang on a second, let me grab that. So the part that I dropped, actually the little backpack here it comes with, is really cool. This little part pops out. He's like carrying it on his back here, and that I dropped the thing earlier and that popped off his back. So that just, it's not a super permanent thing. You just snap it on a little holder there and you've got a little backpack. So if you don't like it, you can just take it right off, or do what I did and just drop it. That's how I remove things from all my models and toys. I just drop them. But it's pretty posable as usual. It's kind of what you would expect from a number 57 kit. It's built more to be. I always kind of compare them to those like artist model things artists use to pose a figure to kind of you know, to study and to draw. So they're kind of like that. You can really almost do anything you want with them. So while you can do realistic, quote unquote, I guess, space frog, you know, movement, you can also do crazy stuff. It's this. I like that this fist here is kind of like a power fist, and the other one's like a normal fist. I wish the fingers. One thing here, though, I wish the fingers were separated, so you'd have separate finger movement. That's a little bit of a bummer, considering how large they are. They could have probably separated those, but you do get a little separation on the thumb and everything. So it's, you know, it's not meant to be super posable and super like you know, realistic or whatever. It's just supposed to be a fun thing, and overall the look of it is amazing. These, I would kill for like 20 of these things. They're a bit expensive, as armored puppets are, but you get, as usual with most armored puppets, you get a stand. If you haven't seen my other videos or seen these before, with every one of the kind of robot ones. I think there's only been one that doesn't come with one. I think that's the Wolf motorcycle, which will be in the description. They come with these stands, so when you put it on a shelf, you automatically have kind of a display area, or you can snap these together using some of these extra parts here, and you can stack them on. So I've got probably 10 or 15 of these stands. I had a friend who follows me here on YouTube, howdy friend, and sent me and traded me a bunch of stands as well for some other stuff. So as you can see, you can kind of stack them up and do some cool stuff with it. It comes with some basic weapons. This is the weapon. It's like a bazooka. It kind of folds out. Oh, good God. See, this is what, Jesus H. Anyway, those are two little parts. That's one problem you have when you're trying to look at, trying to, you know, show some of these toys. They're just the little finicky little parts that I can't stand. But I love the little ray gun. The ray gun is absolutely adorable. It's like a little 50s, you know, like literal ray gun. Like there's like a fuse in there, it looks like. But that's his actual gun that he holds. And then he can go around shooting people with his little ray gun or whatever. So it's got a lot of flexibility there. It has this that'll show you kind of the rest of the additional parts. Always mark and date and time your stuff. I tell people that all the time. But that'll give you kind of an idea of what you do with it. You can attach it on his right side here, where one of the little jet things goes. It snaps in there, however you want to do it. They basically, what number 57 armored puppets do is they kind of give you a recommendation. Like, here's what we like it to look like. But they know that what you're going to do is, with just one kit, you get all these extra parts. So they know you're just going to kind of just throw a ton of stuff together. As a matter of fact, let me show you this real quick. Let me scoot this to the side as usual. Let me grab this here. Let me let that fall on the ground. Thank you very much. This is my armored puppet box of just leftover parts. So what I'll tend to end up doing is throw all my extra parts in here. And I actually have two more smaller boxes, about half, so one more of these, that's just filled with stands and parts. So I've got all these cool, just additional parts I haven't even done anything with. Now, not everything fits everything automatically, not like a Hexagear or a Gundam or whatever, but you get little fists and stuff. So I'll end up putting all his little extra bits. For example, I'll probably just throw them in here. I might keep this one separated because it is a frog. It's kind of more specific, but so the idea is you can just take all this stuff, and look at those like weapons you could use and stuff with them, you know, just kind of have fun customizing. Personally, I'm not a big, everybody, if you follow me, you know this, I'm not a big gun person. I like just kind of plain figures, maybe with the melee weapon or sword or something like that. Just not a giant sword. I'm not really a big fan of those. But these guys just look so good in the way they are naturally, that even without the weapons, they kind of look like explorers or something like that. Now, the idea is, too, a lot of times people think you're getting more than one in a set because you see the different heads and stuff. No, you only get one, so you can exchange the heads or swap them out, but you can also just buy more of the kits. So they're not cheap. They're about $25, $30. How much were they? I can't remember. I get mine from a site called ShowZ, SHOWZ, and they are based in China. So when they say something they're gonna get it, and they seem to have an easier time getting stuff to me, even in this delayed kind of era. Maybe it's because they're coming directly from China, I don't know. But I have had a lot of success with them, so if you want to check them out, I can't say everything is perfect with them, but they have a neat little frequent buyer system and stuff like that, and I pick all these up from them. and I've had no problems at all. You can also get them on Big Bad Toy Store or whatever. But so number 57, you haven't seen them, check them out. You get all these cool parts, and then you can now have a cool Froggo. Isn't he fantastic? The head actually will move a little bit in there. So it's got a little bit of movement in there. To change it out, you simply do that, and you're gonna pull that head off like that. And then you have his head you can paint or customize, or you can add one of the ones that are already in there. What is a little bit unfortunate about this, that head looks a little bit more detailed than the rest of their line, if that makes sense. Everything is like a plain color, so it kind of sticks out a bit, but it's not too bad. And actually, it's really just a neat, looks like a really neat addition to the line without sticking out too much. But that kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like if you can paint it up and have some fun with it like that. So, but that is a space frog from number 57. If you want to pick it up, feel free to. That is the grave frog, I should say. The art is fantastic. So this is one that'll probably go on the shelf like this. I'll save the box because that just looks so cool. Really cool. I suggest getting one now. They're really fun to assemble and pose, and I love them forever. Bye bye, MIBBIT, 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 MIBBIT.